Hi, my name is Jackie, and I'm one of the designers here with the Ribbon Shed. Let's go over the materials we'll be using for this super cute kit. You're going to get one roll of mesh. You're going to get one pick that has 6 curly cues on it. You're going to get the Santa sign. You're going to get the Unique in the Creek ring board. And you're going to get 2 rolls of ribbon. Let's get started. All right, my friends, first we're going to put our pipe cleaners in. As you can see, I've already put half of them in. You're going to need 16 pipe cleaners. What I do is I fold them in half to get them ready to load into my Unique in the Creek board. And then I'm going to flip it over, start loading on the outside, then skip. Then on the inside row, we're going to do the same thing, but we're just going to use the one hole on the inside row. Skipping every other hole. And then what you want to do once you get to this point is just flip it over really quick, slap it down on your table, and start securing your pipe cleaners. I give them a couple twists, pull up on them to make sure they're good and tight. The center ones I'm going to push toward middle because we're not going to need those right away. Just going to do that to kind of get them out of the way for right now. And then once we get our pipe cleaners on, you're going to need to cut your mesh. We're going to start out with 8 pieces, 20 inches long, 8 pieces, 15 inches long. Pieces that are 20 inches we're going to use to go around the outside of our frame. So you're going to take that and you're just going to roll it under one time, and that's going to prevent it from fraying. And then ruffle. And I just grabbed the end and tuck it a couple times. We're going to put it in our pipe cleaner. Use your thumb to push down on your mesh. It'll make it easier to really secure your mesh down into your pipe cleaner, and give that a couple twists. All right. Do that again. Roll your mesh up. Ruffle it. Now, some people, and I'll show you, are not able to roll mesh like I can at the end. Let me show you a little trick, but you'll need a couple of clips to do this. So here's a couple of clips. So what you want to do at first, you'll want to make your roll on one end and then clip it to hold it. Turn your mesh the other way. Make your roll over here and then ruffle. Then take your clip off. Put your mesh in your wreath. You're going to use that 20-inch mesh all the way around the outside of your wreath. Okay, so once you get to your last piece of mesh on the outside, you're going to want to lift up the piece to the left. We're going to tuck this piece under it. That is going to keep the consistency of how our mesh lays on the outside. All right, now that we have our mesh on the outside, we're going to go to the inside. This mesh is cut 15 inches. Open up your pipe cleaner. Notice how I'm just pushing my mesh out of the way. Using the same technique, and that's just to keep the mesh from fraying. This mesh is going to finish filling out our wreath, make it nice and fluffy, and it's also going to be our support system for our sign. And you're going to do this all the way around the center of your wreath. All right, now that we have a nice full wreath base, we're ready to start putting our ribbon on the outside. Or at the outside, you're going to need 8 pieces of the green ribbon and 8 pieces of the plaid ribbon. What you want to do is take a piece of each ribbon, line them up, evenly pair them up, fold them over, find center. And what I do is I take my index finger for center, and then I just roll my finger up. And that's going to be what we call the pinch. And now it's ready to go into pipe cleaner. Take your ribbon, fix it, and pull it apart. Now, not everybody is able to put ribbon in that way, so another method. Take your 2 pieces of ribbon, lay them on your table, even them up. Once again, find center, and then you're going to crease it so that when you open it back up, you know where center is. Then you're just going to ruffle it together and then lay it into your pipe cleaner. Twist that up a couple times. And then fix your ribbon. Whichever method you prefer or able to do really doesn't matter. We're just going to continue to do this all the way around the outside of our wreath. All right, now that we've got our ribbon on the outside of our wreath, we're going to take the remainder of our mesh and we're going to cut 8 pieces, 8 inches long. so that we can put spirals in on the outside. Good thing about the end of the roll of the mesh is it's already rolled up for your spiral. So you just want to fold that in half to find center, inch it up, make sure the open cut edge is facing into your wreath, and then tie that in to secure it. Once again, you don't have to make these too tight. I kind of like mine a little bit loose. Roll it up, find center, pinch it up, make sure the open edge is facing into your wreath. And then secure it in with your pipe cleaner. And you're going to do this all the way around the outside of your wreath. All right, now that we have built the foundation for our wreath, we're ready to put our sign on. But the first thing that we need to do is flip it over and find the spot on the board where you have 3 holes that are very close together. This is where we're going to put our door hanger on. And I just use a zip tie for mine. You can take 2 pipe cleaners and put them together. Then I just lock that in. And this is also going to help us find top and bottom. All right. So take your Santa Claus sign and flip it over. And there is a hanger on the back. We're going to take one hanger, one pipe cleaner, and secure it around that hanger. And then you'll notice at the bottom of Santa's beard is a little hole. You're just going to take your pipe cleaner, secure your pipe cleaner to that. Now I have this neat little tool called a darning needle or a yarn needle, and I use this to go up through the bottom to pull my pipe cleaners through. And we're going to use the holes that are directly below our wreath hanger. I will flip it over and show you here in a second. Now you don't want to pull your sign like deep flat into your wreath. You just want to pull down till you get a little bit of resistance on your mesh. And then twist your pipe cleaners up. And these are the 2 holes that I use. Here's your wreath hanger. I used this hole and this hole. What I'm going to do with my remainder of my pipe cleaner, I'm going to tuck it back into a hole. And that will keep the back of my board nice and clean. And now we're going to secure the bottom. And once again, just pull down until you get a little resistance against your mesh. And the holes that I used for that, directly below, I used this hole right here and then use the outside of the board. Now I'm just going to tuck in the remainder of the pipe cleaner. Okay, now we're ready to make our bow. The tool that I use to make my bows is called the Easy Bow Stow and Go. If you don't have one, you can order M's Bow and Go, available at the Ribbon Shed. And what you want to do is take 2 pipe cleaners, twist them together, and we're going to lay those down between the pegs. All right, and so now we're ready to start our bow, and I'm going to start with the green. I always start out by dovetailing my ribbon. I'd rather dovetail my ribbon now than later. So we're going to do 7-inch tails and 7-inch loops. So this is 7 inches. I'm going to pinch my ribbon up, and then I'm going to give it a twist. Bad side up, good side up. I'm going to slide this down between my 2 pegs. Make my first loop. I'm going to hold my hand here for the 7 inches. Then I'm going to find center. I'm going to make my pinch. And then my twist. Seven inches. Pinch. Twist. Now this time we're not going to twist. We want our tail facing up. Now we're going to just dovetail our ribbon. We're going to come in with our plaid ribbon and do the same thing again. Pinch. Twist. Notice how I'm holding my fingers right here. This is going to keep me from pulling my ribbon through while I'm getting more off the roll. And these loops we're going to make about 6.5 inches. You can also make your twist right in the center like that. We're going to do 2 loops on each side. Now we're going to come back with the green. Pinch. And this time we're just going to do one loop on each side. And then to finish off our bow with our plaid ribbon, we're going to do a total of 3 loops. Every time I start a new ribbon, I go down about a half an inch. Okay, so now that we've finished our bow, you want to take your pipe cleaner and crisscross it through pegs and pull down to tighten your bow, stack. Pull up on your bow, bring it out. What you want to do is you don't want to leave your stack of ribbon, that's what we call this, a stack of ribbon loose. You're going to want to take your hand and gently just squeeze it down and secure your pipe cleaner tighter around your stack of ribbon. Now we're going to bring our wreath back, and what we're going to do to secure our bow into our wreath is make sure you have this good and twisted up so your bow is not going to come loose, and then we're going to cut the excess off. To put this into our wreath, we're going to use the pipe cleaner to the right of Santa. We're just going to tie that right in. I start fluffing my bow from the bottom. Pull. I like to pull my tails down out of the way first. Pull my loops apart. Then we're going to go over to this side and do the same thing. And then what I like to do with my last 2 tails is I like to pull them up, because to me it helps round out the bow. To take just one of each and pull it up. And then I'm going to shorten those just a little bit so they're not covering Santa Claus too much. And then I'm just going to come back now and finish by rounding up my loops. Okay, now that we have our loops rounded up, we're going to add just a little bit more ribbon to our wreath. We're going to cut 3 pieces of our plaid 22 inches. And we're going to cut 3 pieces of our green 24 inches. And then we're going to cut some ribbon tails. So we're going to cut 3 pieces of our green 14 inches. And then we're going to dovetail it. And this, my friends, what we're doing is we're making what's called faux bows or cheater bows. And now we're going to cut 3 pieces of our 1.5 14 inches. And we're going to dovetail these as well. Now that we have all our ribbon ready, okay, we're going to start not directly across from our bow, but one over. So what you want to do is you take your 2 pieces for your ribbon tail, pair them up, fold them, and you're just going to use your pipe cleaner to hold it. So just take it and you're just going to pull, and you're just using it to hold it for right now. Because now we're going to take our green piece of ribbon, fold it over, find center, and then I always double check to make sure that it's centered. Then you're going to pinch that up. Undo your pipe cleaner, put that in there. Once again, you're just going to use your pipe cleaner to hold it. And then you're going to get your plaid ribbon in, find center, pinch that up. We're going to twist that into our pipe cleaner. We're going to twist it down good and secure it, and I just take my pipe cleaner and tuck it down out of the way. Now we just fluff our bow out. We're going to skip over this one and go over here and do the same thing again. Every time I undo my pipe cleaner, I'm overlapping these about an inch. That's to make sure that I have enough ribbon in my pipe cleaner on both sides. And now that we have those on, we're going to come down, skip over, come down here. All right, my friends. Last bow, and then we're ready to add our pick. All right, so what we're going to want to do with our pick is you're going to take a pair of wire cutters and you're going to cut all these off to where there's about a half an inch, or well, actually none. You're just going to cut them off right at the base of the pick. Just right there at the base. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of pair these up like so. We're going to just start at the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little hot glue on the end, and that's just going to keep them from wiggling around and help make sure they're secure in my wreath. And we're just going to get these secured into our wreath, and then we'll come back after we're done and then style them. I'm just going to tuck those in there. About an inch is how far I've tucked it in under my wreath. And then I'm going to use my pipe cleaner and tie down, finish securing them. Okay, like I said, then once the hot glue has cooled, we'll come back and finish styling them. So now we're going to skip past our bow and go right here. Pair up two of them, back to back. Put hot glue on the tips. Like I said, I'm putting them about an inch in. Notice how I'm pulling up on them so it doesn't flatten my ribbon out. And then we're going to come around between the two bows here and do the same thing. We're going to go back to where we started because that glue has had plenty of time to cool down. And now we're going to kind of style our pick. I like to open mine up a bit so that you see more of the candy cane. I don't like them so tightly curled. And I'm putting one a little bit higher than the other one to give it some dimension. We're going to do it again on this one. And once again, I'm going to put one a little bit higher than the other. And then the last thing that we'll do is our pipe cleaners that are just kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. We're just going to tuck them in out of the way You won't be able to see them once you tuck them. And that, my friends, is the super cute Santa Claus wreath. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial so much. I can't wait to see yours. Thank y'all for joining me in the ribbon shed. Bye, y'all.